All right, hey Florian Bros. Okay, let's do another week of That's a Wrap. One of the subjects that came up was about building trust, and trust is an interesting thing. I always said that you can't, trust is not there for you to build. All you can do is break trust. You don't have to build trust. Usually, if they're calling you out or coming into your showroom, that's a sign of trust. You can break trust with the customer, but trust isn't necessarily for you to have to build with them. So, showing them things now, showing them that they're going to have a reliable process, good communication, things like that. It's not a matter of trust, but great customer service that you're going to do a good job for them. And your sales presentation, if it's done right, it should show them that they're confident in using you and afraid to not use you. So, and you don't ever have to badmouth your competition in order to do a good presentation that does this. So showing them what you do that's ordinary, make it extraordinary. That's what we do in our sales presentations is we show them the things that we're doing. And some of them are other people are doing as well, but they don't communicate it as well as we do. So if you do a better job communicating that, then you make them confident about you and are afraid to not use you. So you're not bad mouthing competition. You're just making them afraid of the competition because you said things that they didn't say. And again, it is saying some of the same things like you're tearing out their flooring, you're going to haul it off, you're going to throw it away in the dumpster. The competition might do that as well. But if they don't communicate that, then there's some question. Are they going to leave it out on the sidewalk or are they hauling it off? How are you going to prep the floors for install? What kind of warranties or guarantees are there? So having that stuff in writing is very valuable as well. So it helps, again, to show them confidence in you. Um, Trust, if that's as important to them, they're probably looking up your reviews. Now, this was interesting on the website. I found that reviews on the website don't work. Like nobody goes to your website and looks up your reviews. They look up your reviews on Google. And the advice that I got that I'm sharing with my clients is to do it properly. What you should do is take your reviews and put them on every page. Put a review on every page, 5-star review, put it with the customer's name. And that's one way to display the reviews, but they're not going to go to your review page. Almost nobody goes to a review page. The other one that I thought was funny, interesting is nobody goes to a social media page. Why would they go to your social media page if they're already on your website? What would be the value to them to go to your Facebook page or Instagram page? I don't see where that has any value to it. In fact, it might be taking up valuable real estate that you can use to give attention to something else. Or just not even having it on there can help give attention to everything else, because the more stuff you clutter your page with, the less attention everything else has. So keep your homepage, especially, very simple with the products that you sell, not the name products, not the name services, but actual products, carpet, luxury vinyl. And we've seen this strategy. It works so much better. And make it easy for them to book an appointment. That button should be large so they can book an in-home appointment. Make your address a clickable link so they can go to your address from your website. That make it easy for them, and make your phone number easy to read so they can call you. And I thought the contact us was interesting too. There's no reason to have contact us. Nobody's going to click the contact us for a phone call. And you can go by your own opinion on this in your own experience. How many people contact and want you to call them? Well, if they want to talk to you, they'll just call you. And if they want an appointment, they're going to click on the link for an appointment. So book my appointment now is important. Contact us, not so much, because they're not going to go through that just to contact you. They'll call you, and throughout your page, they can email you, sure, but we just don't get that many emails that are random where they ask a question. You know who uses that page? Solicitors. So the only ones that seem to use that page and want to contact you, they'll go through that page, the contact us page, to contact you. Now, I thought this was interesting. Working with some clients, some people are skittish about closing in the home. So we said, look, if it bothers you to close in the home and you think that's high pressure salesperson, then do it this way. Just give your customers an opportunity to buy now. And it's really a different way to look at it. So if your sales team or you as a salesperson feel uncomfortable, like and it's really a shame that you feel uncomfortable as a salesperson and as somebody providing a service to a customer, that you're so uncomfortable about giving a price that you want to email a quote because you don't want to stand in. That's really what the reason is. You're afraid to stand in front of the person and give them a price because you feel guilty somehow that you're charging them for something or that you're asking for money for something in return. That's what they called you out there for. That's what they want. So why would you feel guilty about giving them a price? Now, some of you say it's very difficult. I got to go back and figure it out. And some of you have been in business for 15, 20 years, and you still say it's very difficult. I got to go back and figure it out. Oh, bullshit. Come on. You don't have to go back after 15, 20 years. Look, I got brand new in the business and I could figure out what the estimate was in the home. Any of you can do it. You're just not doing the work and making the effort to give the estimate in the home. Because you're very comfortable with your process. It's very easy. But what I found with people that give an estimate, send an email quote. First of all, your closing rate's not as good. Second of all, you're competing a lot more against price because people are viewing your email against somebody else's email. It doesn't give you an opportunity to explain why your price is higher or more or any explanation about a price. So if you go up against somebody that gives a price in a home, you're probably going to lose. I know me as a customer, when I call somebody out, I'm ready to go for it. If they email me a quote, I'm not doing business with them because I just want to buy now. That's why I called you out. I called you to buy something. I didn't call you for a price. And that's the funny thing too, is people aren't calling you for an estimate. They're calling you for a product or a service. Giving them a price is a part of it. And what you'll find is we're even doing it. We're just crushing it with showers now, where in the ad, we give them the price and we tell them how long it's going to take. Now people are calling to place an order rather than calling to get an estimate. Okay. Once you eliminate the estimate, now they're just calling you for an order, right? So what's the point of getting an estimate? You told them what the price was. Okay. So it really changes the game on everybody. But if you don't want to close in the home, you got to get over that fear and figure out how to do that. It's the most dramatic change that my clients are making in their business, where their closing rates are going up. They're able to get a higher dollar amount. They find that it's much easier. And a lot of them go from, man, we don't have much time. And one of the reasons you don't have a lot of time on your hands, coaching calls with me are tough because they don't have time to do it. They have a lot of quotes that they have to get out. I'm working with some people that they have a lot of quotes to get out because they're taking all the information back and they're trying to figure it out. And so they can provide an email quote. And it's very time consuming, where if they could quickly figure it out in the home, they would have a lot more time on their hands, which would be better service for the customer. When we talk about accuracy, how can you be inaccurate in an industry with no standards? You can't be inaccurate in your quote. You just got to make sure you're getting enough money. So coming up with formulas, coming up with ways, like, simple things. Like, for instance, I know in my state, Arizona, stairs from the first floor to the second floor is about 15 steps. They need about 12 feet of carpet to cover most steps. And 12 feet's a little fat, but 12 feet will cover most steps. If I just I see the stairs, boom, that's 12 feet. I don't have to measure the stairs and do the math and figure out how much each stair would take and add it up, or add up the labor costs. I could just go by averages and say, boom, that's what it is. I could train my salespeople quickly with that method as well. So, what if they go we don't have a lot of basement homes, but if I had a basement home, I would figure out that formula. So it's easy. My people can move quick and give an estimate quickly. And then you do some job costing and figure out where your margins are at. And you'll find your margins are really high. Your margins are generally going to be very good. Okay, well, 2 weeks ago, I didn't do a That's a Wrap last week, but 2 weeks ago, I had a great conversation with Matt Garcia. And some of these retailers we have the best conversations with, and Matt is working really hard on creating programs for in-house installers. And he's just put a lot of thought into his business. And he's a specialist when it comes to hardwood flooring. I do think there's a little difference between hardwood flooring and then selling carpet, tile, luxury vinyl, and hardwood. So some of these hardwood experts, I think, can build a little different business, but it's still very difficult, and you got to get to a certain volume in order to make it work. But we talked about how he personally converted from installer to retailer because he was an installer at once and he made it work to become a retailer. And we talked about some of the struggles that he went through. It's very difficult. I think one of the most difficult things that some of you guys do is convert from being an installer to being a retail store owner, because you are dealing with dramatically higher prices. You're going from charging a wholesale price on installation to now charging a retail price, and it just doesn't feel right. So learning how to do that and getting that feeling like you're not ripping off a customer. This is normal business, and this is what your service should be sold for. Same thing with the products. I mean, giving these prices that are so much higher than what you're used to, it's a very difficult switch, but you got to do that to handle all the overhead that's involved. Um, you thought the retailer was just a rich, greedy son of a bitch taking advantage of you. And now what you find out is, oh, this is not easy. I now have to charge more myself. I have to look at all my costs. What are the material costs? What are my installer costs? And what are the things that come up that I didn't plan for? And how do I handle mistakes? How do I handle that with the installers? How do I handle it with customers? How do I handle it with salespeople? So, there's a lot to learn when you make that switch. So we had a great conversation about that. And then we discussed why prices really don't change for installers. Um, and the real reason why the prices don't change for installers is because the retailers aren't charging enough. So it's very difficult for the retailers to pay the installers more money when they're not charging the customers more. So a lot of retailers are, struggling. They may be close to going out of business. They're trying to get jobs. They're lowering their prices in hopes to increase business, which is a strategy that never works. So, but that's why the installer prices don't seem to go up. And then the installers, in order to increase their prices, have to be better businessmen and have to know how to advocate for themselves about how to get higher prices. And this is one thing that we see a lot of people advocating for the installers who used to be installers, but it really is up to the installers to advocate for themselves and not to be satisfied with their own conditions and come to the retailers as a professional and show them why they should be paying more and why they should be charging the customer more and maybe how to do that. I know it's not your responsibility, but if you want to get paid more, that's one of the ways to do it. And the other way to do it is open up a retail business or just simply reach out to the customers and try to sell directly to them. Now you have some marketing expenses and time involved with marketing, but and you'll have expenses as well with going out and giving an estimate, not to mention all the other things that go along with directly selling to the customer. But it seems to be what installers do to improve their circumstances. Now, this is something else we talked about, which is an interesting subject, that you can't lead a subcontractor because they're not an employee. You can't tell a subcontractor what to do and what not to do, and which is just total nonsense. And I've heard that from a couple people. Well, legally because of this status and legally because of that status. Oh, bullshit. You can tell a subcontractor just as well as you can tell an in-house employee what to do. And then they have a choice. They can choose not to do that, or you can choose not to hire them. Everybody's got a choice in this game here, but you can lay out the experience you would like for your customer. And if you're telling your subcontractor what to do, I can tell you that subcontractor is going to be more loyal more often than somebody that you ignore and trust. What you don't want to do is just trust the installer, and not because they're not trustworthy, but you don't want to trust the installer because it's a bad way to lead. And if you just trust the installer, they're not going to like working for you. But if you look at their job, show them appreciation, they're going to want to work for you. But tell them what you expect. Everybody, kids, pets, adults, everybody wants to know what your expectations are, and they like meeting your expectations. People like doing a good job. People like having a tough coach versus one that doesn't care. And that's your role. You're the coach, you're the leader, your dad, your mom, you are the leader of the band, and people want to know what your expectations are, and people are really happy when they meet or exceed your expectations. So whether they're a subcontractor or employee. So don't think that you can't tell them what to do because they're a subcontractor. That's an excuse for poor leadership. Don't make that excuse. Go ahead and tell them. You'll find you'll get um, great results from them. Okay, something else that has come up a lot lately. I mean, there's a lot of people who are just struggling. I mean, especially the young bloods out there that are opened up. It's your first 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years in business. The first 3 years are just really hard. You're trying to figure out the marketing. You're looking for answers. What's the best marketing? Look, I'm sorry, but the reality is it does take time for marketing to work. You can do marketing that's effective and brings customers in, but um, if if there was a simple way to really attract customers, the big dogs with the money would be doing it. So the reason that it's so difficult is it does take time. Like good SEO, it takes time for Google to recognize it. It takes time to build that foundation to where you're recognized. Now, what you should be doing when you're starting out, first of all, don't be afraid of getting some capital. I mean, uh, trying to make it with no additional capital, just with the money in your pocket and hustling. It's very hard. I mean, you're going to have months where, yeah, you go out and hustle and make it, and you got money coming in hand over fist. And then the next month, you're looking for another job because this isn't working out, which I've been through myself, believe me. So, uh, it's very difficult to make it in those first few years. So, and it's especially difficult with capital. Now, capital is not the end all be all. It's not the answer. One of the challenges you have when you do start off with, say, 50,000 or 100,000 is you dump a lot of that money into marketing, and usually you dump it into very bad marketing, or marketing that doesn't work, or marketing that takes time to work. So you're spending money to get on the front page of a magazine, which doesn't work, or the back page of the magazine, which doesn't work, or to do a TV spot, which doesn't work, or a radio spot, which doesn't work. All these things work over time. Nothing works out of the gate. So you're not going to find a whole lot of things that work overnight for you. So they take time to build, and it's very difficult. That capital should be used to help you pay your rent, pay any employees that you may have hired, pay suppliers, to just pay your overhead and expenses while you give your marketing a chance to build up and work. And then your marketing budget should be probably close to about $3,500 a month in the beginning to get you rolling, to get you up to that, over that $1 million hump. So your initial overhead should be spent towards that. And then you need to focus on doing what's free. Free marketing is things like shoot the damn video. It's going to networking meetings. It's posting on social media. It's even walking around the neighborhood and handing out flyers, which walking around the neighborhood, handing out flyers, I'm sorry, doesn't really work, but it does help. It helps to get out there. It helps you think. when you see people, it helps to talk to them, tell them what you're doing. It helps to ask questions, ask advice, even from the people that are out on the street. So who might be needing flooring. One of the strategies we have for hiring a new person is asking people to let them in their home to give an estimate so they can practice. It's actually a pretty good marketing program. It does work because there are people who are in the market for flooring who will let you in to practice giving an estimate. And they may just hire you, probably will. So, uh, it's hanging in there. It's understanding that you're not alone, and there's people that were a hell of a lot smarter than you are that came before you that struggled every bit as much as you're struggling. There are people that have more capital, that have more resources. There are really smart people who went through the same damn thing that you're going through, because those first couple of years are tough. Building that foundation is tough. I spent my first few years chasing money to get to a point. My goal was to build a $5 million a year business in 5 years. That was going to take some capital. So I was chasing money, trying to get the capital that I needed to do it. Got told no a lot. Got some really bad loans. I'm not advising you to do that, telling you what I went through. But and after a few years, we got a good loan from the SBA at 6% interest, and really we're able to grow the business to 5 million a year. And I was able to sell the business to my son, which we owned it together. So he bought me out, my side of it out. But we reached that goal. Took 6 years, not 5 years, but we reached the goal to get to $5 million, which was important. So, but it took capital to get there. We didn't do that just by pure hustle. Now, some of you guys are hustlers and you could do it. Most of us aren't. Most of us aren't. So there's a couple of you that are, and you could do it without getting any extra capital. And look, some of you guys that aren't really growing your business and it's just you and you didn't require any extra capital. I mean, you don't have those goals. I'm sorry, it's not really a business you're building a job, because this is not something that you can sell, because you don't have that book of business. You're only selling a job. You're not selling a business. A business is when you have employees that can do the work and you don't have to be there. Business is an asset that you can sell. If it's just you, that's really just a job. So maybe it doesn't require as much capital for you to be successful, but it requires all of you. And if you're out, if you're sick, if you're injured, then there goes that job. So that's a risky business to be in as well. I understand you can make a lot of money, but it's risky. So, but those of you that opened up your doors and you're struggling, there are things that you can do. You've got to hustle, you got to do the marketing, but you got to listen to advice and listen to videos. Listening to positive motivational videos will help you a great deal, because it's a lot about your mindset. One thing I love about the motivational videos, I listen to them in the morning when I go for a walk. They really tap into your fears and problems that are going on in your life, whether you lost a loved one, broke up in a relationship, you have financial fears that you worried about, you're facing some troubles like bankruptcy, whatever your health concerns are, any fears or any struggles that you're going through, these guys tap into that and they address it. And it really helps you to understand that, okay, it's not just me going through this. There's a whole lot of people going through this. That's why these motivational tapes work really well. And they'll tap into that and help give you the fight and the confidence that you need to go forward. I had created the saying that you see above, Syed. Which stands for something amazing is about to happen. And once I started believing that, amazing things started to happen for me. So, just having that mindset, and believing that something amazing is about to happen, and that you are going to have to overcome a lot of struggles. You're going to have to overcome your fears, and you're going to have to do what it takes to make it to that second, that third, that fourth year, before things start being easier for you. I've got one client in particular that said his goal was to make it over $100,000. And he'd been in business for 4 years. He wanted to get over 100,000 in 1 month. Uh, and it's funny that you will, in 1 year, you're going to do more in 1 month than you did your whole first year. So that's going to be one of the most amazing, months for you when you do that. This gentleman finally hit. We started working together, and then in the first month, just doing some of the simple stuff. And what I teach is very simple. What I teach how to give a price, we dumb it down, make it super simple for you. Being able to sell a home, I make that really easy for you. Make sense of a lot of this stuff so you can move a lot faster. He got $125,000 his first month working with us, and that was his first month over $100,000. So you guys can do it, just build some processes into it. Had the greatest interview with Jody at can't believe I'm at TL Floor Design. Sorry, Jody. Jody at TL Floor and Design. We had the greatest interview. She's a client of mine that, has probably the greatest challenge of anybody I've ever worked with. And she has no control over the website, no control over her marketing. So what is she to do? And that's because she's part of a franchise, and the franchise controls the website for the entire country. And then the franchise has a page for each of their dealers. So they figured out an inexpensive way to do it, not an effective way to do it. So not a fan of this system, but we talked to, I mean, how is she going to get people in the door? We talked a lot about marketing. Now, Jody also doesn't do installations. She's selling material only. So how do you do that? How do you sell material only? How do you get people in the door? How do you do it when you're brand new and nobody knows anything about you? Well, she had a Halloween event, a trunk or treat event, and she got 30 vendors, 30 other companies to come to her parking lot and hand out candy to kids and promote themselves for free, And then so we utilized that and created Jody's Tribe. And with Jody's Tribe, she puts them in her network, and she's the mayor of her town now. Figuratively speaking, not literally, but she's the mayor of that town, and she does videos talking about, no, she's not comfortable doing the videos. It's not natural for her. She doesn't enjoy doing it, but she realizes she's going to have to do things that she doesn't like doing to get where she wants to go. And so she created some of these videos, and I've made a suggestion. Anytime I make a suggestion, she just does it. She implements it. She's amazing at implementing things. But she's done Tuesday tips, Friday follow-up, and then she does something called Jody Recommends, where she recommends another business. So it's nice to do a video with content where she's not talking about herself. That's a lot easier than self-promoting. So when she does Jody Recommends, anybody she talks about, anything she says about that person reflects back on her. And then she finishes up the video by saying, oh, and of course, Jody recommends Jody for all your flooring needs. Now, she gets the benefit of anybody watching the video, and she gets the benefit of the person that she's recommending. It's called the art of reciprocation. She's doing something for somebody, and they're going to naturally want to do something in return. They're going to try and get her business because they appreciate her coming out and highlighting her. So, she does several of these videos. Think about it, 50 companies out there in a year. She does 50 videos. She'll have 50 companies out there that are referring her. She's going to build a dynasty out here without really spending any money on marketing. I mean, it's all through social media. And this is the strategy Barbara Cochran used to build her celebrity. She's just started writing articles and writing stuff, writing opinions about celebrities buying real estate, and writing opinion articles about real estate, and she became the expert. And she'll tell you, she's up on stage, she says, I don't know anything about this stuff. I just wrote about it, wrote what I thought, put some numbers together, they publish it, because all these people want content, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, they all want content. So they get your content, they share it. And if you can go with publications, they want content too. So if you can provide content, you're the king of the hill, and you can build your business without spending any money on marketing. It's an amazing thing. So what she's doing, and again, this is not working overnight. I can't say she's doing great numbers from this, but it is working. So she is getting some benefit from it, and it'll work more and more and more over the years. Building her foundation will come a lot faster. Both Matt Garcia's interview and the interview with Jody, we addressed pricing your showroom out, and how valuable of a thing that is. So to price out your showroom really has made it easier. They can see the difference, that it's easier for the customer to come in and make a buying decision. It's easier when you have the prices on display, and we put them at a 55% profit margin. Now, if you aren't prepared to give discounts or really talk to customers properly, then you're going to have trouble with this strategy at a 55% margin. But if you're prepared with your sales presentation and your strategies, and you can give discounts based on how much they're buying, it really does work. People like saving money, they like the discount, and they like seeing the prices on there. It makes it a more comfortable buying experience for them. Now, Jody pointed out she worked for a large corporation. I can't remember the name of it, but she worked for a company, and she used to sell for them. And she had no problem with this strategy. The problem she had with doing it for herself is she knows her own bullshit. So when you're the owner and you make up the prices and you know what you're doing, sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle to get there with the customer. You overthink everything because you know everything. You feel like they can see right through you. But your salespeople won't have a problem with it. If you tell your salespeople, this is what the price, this is the discount you can give, they will sell for you at that price. So it's a strategy that works. It works for all the big box stores. It works for all big companies. It can work for you too. If you can just get over the fact that you're the one that came up with the prices, you're the one that came up with the strategy. So don't worry about it. Somebody came up with it for Walmart and Kohl's and Sears and all Dillard's and all these companies and corporations, Home Depot, Lowe's, all of them. Somebody came up with it for them, and now they're selling based on that. Well, since you're the owner, you have to come up with the higher retail price and the sales. So it is real. It does work. It works every time you try it. Believe me, starting with a higher price and offering a discount does work. It works for all of us. It works everywhere. Go shopping in the mall sometime. You will see discounts on every store. Every single store is offering some kind of sale or special to get you in to buy now. All right, so hiring a salesperson, process, and pay. There's been a lot of questions about, how do I hire a salesperson? What do I pay them? And one thing I want to point out is people are saying, what about if I hire somebody experienced? Or what if I hire somebody that wants to get paid weekly? Or what if I hire somebody under special circumstances? And I will tell you right now, do not create a special circumstance for the people that you hire. You want to bring these people on, and you want them to work within your program and your system. You're the employer. Okay, it's on you to create the processes and system. If you're providing a good opportunity for them, you are doing some marketing, you're bringing in some leads, then you're giving them a good opportunity to make money. You do not have to make up special circumstances. This will get you into hot water as you grow. So as you hire more salespeople, if people leave, people come back, you're trying to keep track, paying them different ways, doing different things for different people, it gets sloppy, it gets complicated. And one of the worst things is overpaying somebody. when you overpay somebody to start off with, it really jams you up. And especially the new guys, you get desperate and you hire somebody that seems very knowledgeable and they seem very good. They've been doing it for a long time. So you end up overpaying them for their skill and their talent. And you'll come to find out that that skill and talent is not near as valuable as you might think it is. So you're not going to depend on somebody more than you depend on yourself. And I have tried for years to hire somebody and that I thought was going to be fantastic. And it generally just doesn't work out. You still have to be the leader. You still have to come up with the ideas. You know, you might find a diamond in the rough, but you need to set up your processes so you can manage a team of people, not just one person. And so the way I teach people to pay is probably the most effective for cash flow reasons, and helps you that you're paying them well when sales are good, but when sales aren't good, you're not paying them as well. And that's okay because you don't have the cash flow to do it. So when you're struggling and you're trying to grow your business, man, if you have to make up a big payroll, it just going to dig you into a big hole, and it puts a lot of stress on you because you might be forced to let go of that person that you hired. Um, you want their pay, you want your total payroll. I mean, just for simplicity's sake, you don't want your payroll to be much more than 10% of your total sales. So if you're selling 100,000 in a month, you don't want that payroll to be much more than 10,000. If you're selling 50,000 a month, you don't want that payroll to exceed $5,000. And that's just a good marker to go off of, just for simplicity's sake. You can get in the weeds, we can get a lot more detailed than that. But that's just something good to measure off of to see where you're at, compare, and see how you might be able to correct it. Now, the payroll structure, I create my payroll structure with bonuses and everything else that goes into it. And I also put on it that this may change. Okay, we may decide to change it. If we decide to change it, we'll do it. We'll give you notice. We'll do it within 4 weeks. So I can decide the date that we're going to pay him might change. The amount might change, the bonus structure, the commission structure. We may change it. Leave yourself room to make those changes, to grow and to make the changes that you got to make. Okay. So that's going to be a wrap for this week. If you guys want to talk about your business, reach out to me. Go to jerrylevinson.com and sign up for a free one-on-one consultation where we can discuss your business, where you're at, how you're going to reach that next level, how you're going to reach your goals. Okay, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you on the other side.